No.
All right, cool. Perfect. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. 3, 2, 1. And we are back. Not live. This is pre-recorded stuff because it's too spicy for... let's not forget to do that because last week we had the issue of not being able to see what's going on in a kinetic way. So thank you for everybody who listened to that first episode. We had... not surprising. I don't want to put that on you. I wasn't surprised.
I would think it's a little bit of a surprise, maybe.
I think people were surprised that it wasn't 4 hours. But no, these will be a little bit more condensed as far as what we're going to go ahead and talk about. This is, again, San Diego Futbol Weekly. This is the second episode of this new venture, this new journey, where we're going to go ahead and talk about everything San Diego soccer. And so, again, we're joined in person with Ryan Young at Young the Ryan. So, I mean, this is kind of like what the moderation goes here, where you have some stuff queued up. We got some thoughts to kind of ruminate about in our headspace. Big words today. Ruminate.
Did he have a thesaurus with him earlier today?
He's a walking thesaurus.
Yeah, okay.
It's actually pretty crazy. Like some of the words that I can pull out of my ass and use perfectly. I don't know what they fully mean, but I know they just belong there.
I'm surprised no one has made a Wikipedia page of you.
Get on
In
it.
San Diego.
Drew, get on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have soccer news to talk about, some soccer stuff to talk about. San Diego Loyal, San Diego Wave. We'll start with Wave. Obviously, again, I don't want to get you in any hot water. Let's see what you can kind of get away with, right? When talking about the team that pays the bills.
A portion.
Portion.
Hey, I like that.
A portion of the bills.
Keep it to yourself, right? Like you gotta keep the secrets to the vest.
Yeah, absolutely. But
yeah.
the 2-2 draw against Angel City in their final. We can't call it a preseason game because you couldn't call it a preseason game because it was a closed-door scrimmage at Snapdragon between Wave and Angel City. Both goals by Amira Ali, which I think is very notable because she's somebody that, I was telling this to somebody as I was walking by. I go, if Amira is scoring goals for this team, that's an element that I feel like is going to help head coach Casey Stoney get to the point where she says, I don't want goals to just come from one person. I want 5 people who can be double-digit scorers or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
So, the takeaways obviously were her. I think the other part is seeing Taylor Korniak playing up top.
Interesting.
It's also a position that, from what I'm hearing, she's told other people is where she prefers to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something that we discussed is that she just sticks out in that midfield, and it's literally how
it's kind of hard not to,
right? But I think it's almost like a FUBAR type of tactic where it's you throw somebody who's imposing, somebody who's strong in the midfield because you don't expect somebody to be so technical like the way that she is at times, where at other times you can definitely tell like, yep, that's a center fielder's touch in the midfield. Sure. But she has a strength, and for the most part, a lot of the offense last year started with goal kick directly to Korniak from Sheridan, then bang over to Morgan. Yep. Morgan looks over, passes it to somebody in the middle on the outside. Here you go, Kelsey Turnbow. Kelsey Turnbow gets fouled, end of the play. Or something. Yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, especially with someone that plays on top, right? You see her and you think, oh, that's a number 6. That's a 6 pro, or she's going to be a center back. So you see her, you don't think 10, you don't think a 9, and if they're using her as a 9, that'd be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think you can see the years of chemistry between her and Morgan. Since Korniak started in Orlando with her. I think she's phenomenal with her head too on some of those balls. Like her ability to flick it to the right position, her passing, I feel like doesn't get a lot of attention either. And then she was one of the ones that obviously scored in the Western Conference Final again up in Portland. So she has the ability to score as well. If you guys are pointing to other people that you're seeing on this roster as, hey, they can be a threat to score, who else are you guys looking at on Wave that you're going, hey, I'm expecting bigger things out of them, or I think this year you're going to see them assert themselves more?
Oh,
tell you.
Kelsey Turnbull is one of them for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
She gets a lot of minutes, especially when players left on international duty. She was starting, and I think Casey Stoney put a lot of expectations on her, right, as a rookie, and she could either make a big jump year 2, or you'll start seeing her minutes get cut off, and maybe we have a lot of weapons up here. Jaden Shaw came on to the squad later in last year, so you could see her get traded maybe and bring someone else that you might need if you don't really need a player on top. Maybe you need someone to add more depth at the left back position or at the right back position, and you eventually make a trade. So I think.
Did you just trade Kelsey Turnbow?
I think he did.
You
But
just
I mean,
traded Kelsey
to that point though, they
mean-
did make a trade last year. More on the defensive end to bring
Yeah.
Matty Pogard in. So trades aren't out of the realm of possibility. But I
Well,
think
it was McGrady, right, for Poe. So it was kind of like a same position for same position.
yeah.
Which it makes
But
sense.
do you trade potential goal scorers? Because I feel like it's the same thing when I watch USL Championship. I go, you're not really trading, unless you're getting, I guess even. But
No.
I would think you're right. Jaden Shaw could get some more minutes. Rachel Hill, maybe. But from what I've seen, she might be more of a winger.
Yeah, I would say Doniak has even made a bigger impact than Kelsey Turnbull last season. So if you already have those weapons and you don't really need her and you are in need somewhere else, you could potentially look in that alleyway and say, okay, let's offload here to be stronger overall as a team. And that's the business part of the game, right? It's unfortunate because you can build relationships with players and fans have favorites and stuff, and you see posters say Kelsey Turnbull and stuff like that, but
Definite fab favorite.
so it's part of the game, it's part of the business. You essentially, as head coach Casey Stoney says, I need to make my squad the strongest, and it's not to point her out or anything, but at the end of the day, that's the business. You're gonna trade to make the team better.
Tony, would you think that the youth and her going in her second year works to her benefit in terms of the patience that they're gonna have with her?
So she can definitely come out swinging, and that can either be, to put it in a rudimentary type language. She can be that can result in almost like a try hard type of output of her, where she definitely knows what she needs to work on. She needs to work on that tenacity. I've heard I don't want to give credit to you, or if not, but I do, here you go. The Ben Spencer at times. And I think San Diego soccer fans who have been paying attention for the past couple of years will, understand that, especially on the USL side of things. But it can actually, she can hone those skills that she already has, translate them into the game, and actually be more than just a foul machine where she just gets bullied here and there. For the most part, she gets the calls, and I think that in itself can be beneficial for the team because you get set pieces out of that. Throw Korniak in there, throw whoever wants to swing it in there and just create some chaos. Because from what I've noticed in watching the NWSL more than admittedly I had before, is that goals that come from the chaos that gets created inside the box from set pieces are not rare at all, and they're that's usually how a lot of these goals actually happen. And if the ball gets kicked out from the inside the box and it's a shot long range, you have a lot of bodies in there. You have a lot of, just trees in the forest. And it's difficult to react a lot of the times. But, you can't just be contributing with going on the floor. You need to move forward. And I think the ability that she has that we were like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I've never seen her, is that she is ambidextrous, very well. She passes really well. She knows how to control the ball with both feet. She can change on a corner. We've never seen that at Torero Stadium. The advertisements were way too close, as they usually are. So we were trying to move it back, and she's like, screw this, I'm just gonna switch foots and switch feet, and then just swing it in with the left. And so that ability is unique, but you need a little bit more contribution in there, especially I think for the standard that Casey has for her team overall. That's a player that I have to agree with Chiva that has to step it up a little bit more. On another end, I think that Sofia Jakobsson And if you look at the history, what she's done, look at highlights, look at what she brings, look at the highlights even from last season, where she was able to break through that defensive line, just run through everybody. But then at the end of the day, at the end of the road, she ran out of space. She made the wrong choice, or just pitter patter, didn't know where to go, and didn't have an outlet, where maybe the outlet should have been her own shot, should have been a little bit more creative with the way that she dribbled through defenders, because you just dribbled through them like twice. What difference does it make when they're in the box? And she has that ability. So if not as an attacker, as a goal scorer, maybe more as an assist master over on the left side. And so I think we need to see a little bit more of that Sofia Jakobsson from Madrid. That go look it up. Like, she is phenomenal. But for what we were kind of told and we saw, this is what you're getting with Jakobsson. This is your 10. Like, that's an important number. She was given that for a reason.
Do you think it got slack last year, maybe not highlighted as much in terms of it not probably working probably the way everybody thought it would? Like, do you think there's pressure on that situation to present itself to the way you're speaking?
In a way, I think that they tried as hard as they could to say, here, this is what we brought her in for. This is the key part of this starting lineup, until it just didn't work. And then that's when you started getting creative with what you do there. Sometimes you would throw Alex. She would play in the middle. She'd play on the wings. She'd be everywhere. And just that's why you relied so heavily on that one individual. But what happens, and you see it all the time, is that if you have that one individual, if they're for some reason locked down for a game, that's it. Like, you're done. There was a portion last season where Wave just couldn't really create any offense, and it had to do with the fact that, well, they boxed in Morgan really well, or the other team smartened up and they boxed everybody else really well and just left Morgan on an island. Like, oh, well, what do I do now? Like, I can't do anything without the ball, and you can't have 11 Alex Morgans out there at once. So, I think that's
I think the only thing I'll speak to Sophia on is, the home playoff game that they won, and she came in. And I think she probably is still giving the Red Stars defense PTSD, because like they were getting her the ball and she was just making runs and then creating those shot opportunities. And I feel like she was the one that worked with Emily Van Egmond for that goal that really kind of sparked things. And I remember talking to Casey Stoney after interviewing her and kind of saying, like, this is a Sophia that, we're really looking forward to having, so it's like. But then I think you're right. You can get excited, and then they started her in that, playoff loss in Portland. And in my head, from the outside perspective, I'm going, man, why don't you use her just like you did in the Red Stars and bring her on as that, that super sub that, when the defense is worn down for those 60 minutes, now you have fresh legs.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, that's getting into really like the tactics that Casey, chose for that. And so, that the reason I think at the end of that match at home, away where they ended up losing was, well, this is what had worked, and we're gonna just kind of keep going with it. And I mean, it's one of those things where if and Amira Ali, we talked about her, if she was healthy last season, as much as we'd hoped to see her out there, she just couldn't handle 90 minutes, and so maybe had she had that. Those games under her, those minutes under her, real time 90-minute games throughout the season, she could have maybe contributed a little bit more in the playoffs. But that's just not what happened, and that's that isn't not necessarily an excuse, but that's an out for maybe why you chose to do things that way.
No, but I mean, you mentioned Amira Ali, and you automatically think if it's not that she can't just do 90 minutes, I think it's important to have her in your roster, because the 30 minutes that she can give you off the bench. Man, coming off the bench, she's crazy good, because, like you said, tired legs, and she just runs past anyone like nothing. And she's able to hold the ball. Like we saw her a lot of Snapdragon, where she would just kind of take the ball to the corner to kill time already when you're up by a goal and it's an important game. You're just trying to kind of waste time a little bit. She's so strong, too. She just holds everyone off as well in that corner. So I think Casey Stoney really likes that about Amira Ali, and you want to keep her, especially because she's still young as well. So you want to keep those young players as well, and that goes back with Kelsey Turnbull. She's also young. So it's a lot of things that could happen with Wave. It's going to be exciting. You do see trades early on in the season as well. So
He's still trying to trade Kelsey Turnbow.
hey, man, you want the
kidding, I'm
coach
kidding, I'm
to hate
kidding.
me or something.
Against Kelsey Turnbull.
I don't
the
have anything.
only San Diego Wave player to ever thank us and say hi to Two Balls and a Mic's Instagram when we tagged her and interviewed her.
Oh heck yeah,
that's true.
I mean, I will say the personalities and I would say niceness is incredible on this team. So, but you can give the shot. You can give the shot. Talking about youth though, you have Jaden Shaw, which we touched on briefly. I think she's probably going to play a massive role. Obviously, Naomi Girma. The other one, a 15-year-old local that was signed. What can y'all tell me about this new signing that Wave just announced?
So as they're calling her on social media, Mel B. 15
Which
years
is
old.
full name.
Melanie Barcenas. Is that how it's pronounced?
Bato,
we
hablas
looked
bato.
Barcenas.
I mean,
man,
she's
you-
Spanish.
you know-
Barcenas.
Barcenas.
Barcenas. No, it's
San Diego
Barcenas.
kid, right? And
Yeah.
and we got to see her at the Crest reveal. She spoke, which is amazing, right? She just spoke about how she wants to be a professional, how this is amazing for her, and now you see her in the team that essentially she fell in love with at an instant. So that's exciting to have, and we've talked about it before. We want Wave to sign local talent. How we've talked about how did they not go for Christina Birkenroad? How did they not try to get Mia Fisher, who went to Tigres? And
Wait, hold on. Birkenroad, I believe, is leading.
La Liga
she's
MX.
leading
Yeah.
the Liga
Yeah,
MX
yeah,
in
in
goals.
goals.
I think she's
So,
at
yes.
10 goals
Yeah.
or 11 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She scored a hat trick last week as well. So you want local talent. That's kind of what we've always talked about Loyal as well. When the community has reached out to Loyal saying we want local talent in this team, and this should be the same expectation for Wave. You have this now with the future of the team. You already thought you had the future with Jaden Shaw, and now you sign someone that's 15 years old, making her the youngest player, right, in the NWSL.
NWSL. Yeah. I actually had one of our coworkers saw the notification. They only follow soccer because of Two Balls and a Mic. So shout
Let's
out to
go.
them.
Yes.
And he was like, "What?" He's a baseball fan, right? And
Yeah.
so he's like, "They signed a 15-year-old. Like, what does that mean? Like, can she play? Like,
Which is
in
a
MLB?"
new rule this
Yeah.
year with NWSL
Yeah.
that you're allowed to sign kind of this homegrown thing without her having to be subjected to the draft.
Yes, yes, and so it's something that, as you saw in the video, she was there for at the Crest reveal way back when, and to have that step forward into the professional limelight in your home is huge. And I think a lot of players who have come out of here and ended up coming back to play professionally say that, and it's literal homegrown talent. And I just wish that this starts something more where, bring back Christina Birkenroad, bring back Mia Official. However, I do know that you have some insight,
Sources have confirmed.
Mia
that
Official, by
Mia
the way.
Official's not a fan of Wave.
Yeah.
Who is?
Mia Official,
Oh.
forward from Tigres. She killed the last season, became champions with Tigres
Yeah.
Femenil last season. Sources have confirmed with me that she's not a big fan of San Diego Wave.
And why? Just from a
She-
personal
I think
interaction?
I think she just really thought the team would go after local talent in the draft last season. I mean, they got Naomi Girma first, which I mean, no brainer. She's the future of the U.S. women's national
Yeah,
team.
you can't disagree with that
Uh,
pick.
But then you would assume they try to go for a trade for her as well or something like that. I mean, this girl was the golden ball for the CONCACAF under 20 when she played in it, and so she's played with the youth national team as well, and she's killed it, and she's showing her level in Mexico, which I think sometimes Wave has overlooked at looking at talent in the Liga MX Femenil. And you've seen these teams beat teams in the NWSL as well. So,
And talking about Birkenroad and her success, right? Mia Official, campeona de goleo.
yeah.
Do you know what that means? Campeona de goleo.
Scored the most goals?
Golden
Absolutely.
Boot.
Hell yeah.
She has the Golden Boot.
Champion of goals. Like that's
Her rookie year.
in her rookie year.
I mean, just from my experience in social media marketing and all this, like just looking at her, I honestly didn't know who this was, but
Yeah.
I mean, she looks marketable right there. Like
100%.
just look, the smile, everything. Like I would say, I think this team obviously takes on the personality of the head coach, you know, with Casey Stoney. So I think some of it you're going to see, right? Defensive things. And, you know, it's the same thing I feel like, you know, maybe we talk about with Nate Miller and Loyal is like the local stories sometimes, yeah, it sounds great, but like it's not going to be the determining factor on roster spots.
Yeah,
and,
true.
You know, fits, you know, I've been,
Jordan Chavez.
yeah. I mean, I've been banging the drum too on Renee, you know, with
She's right
Cholos.
here.
Yeah.
She's right here.
She literally lives in Chula Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and she's 32 now. But you know, I thought that would, like, to me, you know, as a fan, I'm going, hey, it's a no-brainer. You know, you want representation, and I think that's something that you guys touch on is, okay, Mel B, you know, Mexican American.
Yeah.
I know that was probably something they didn't want to like. They were cautious to lean into the age, even though everybody's going to make a big deal out of it. They were cautious to really lean into, you know, the Mexican American thing because, like, she hasn't decided obviously who she wants to represent going forward, and that's going to be something. But the only thing I'll touch on from what I've seen is she's been training with them since last year.
Yes.
And I mean, Mel B's got moves.
Yes, she does.
And when you put the ball at her feet, you know, like even right now, she can juke the best of them. I think what she'll probably have to learn, and I think the great thing about Casey Stoney is she'll play younger players, and maybe we'll see more of Mel B in Challenge Cup games.
Yes.
But I think she's still kind of learning like how I can use my skill set and how unique it is, but playing within a team because she got the ball in this preseason match and was doing all these little tricks and juke the Angel City defender pretty well. But then all of a sudden the Angel City defender like caught on like, okay, you're not going to make a pass. And, you know, then, you know, Mel B turned it over and, you know, it's like I was right next to the Wave bench and I look at Casey and you could just, you know, you could probably see the eyes like roll a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I think the great thing was like, you know, she just mentioned something to Mel B and I think it was probably just that of like, hey, you know, don't forget you got, you know,
teammates
out there. So I think that's going to be the cool thing to see her journey and like how much time will she get? Will she play in league games or will it be the Challenge Cup? I mean, Challenge Cup is still playing against the league, but they're not counting to the standings.
But then you can ask that question: is Casey Stoney the coach with the patience for players like this?
I think she's proven it, right? Throwing Naomi Girma right in there.
Jaden
Shaw right in there as well. Later in the season as well when it was, you know, crucial because there was a point where there was like, are they going to make playoffs? They were first. They were going to be second. Like,
dropped to fourth, I think.
Dropped to fourth.
It was crazy.
It's weird to know. And again, in a league with 12 teams, it's growing. So hopefully, you know, that doesn't become such a point of, you know, emphasis of like, you know, you can go from first to fourth. At the end of the day, there's only this many teams and this many teams make the playoffs. But no, I think that's going to be a key point to focus on too, as far as what this team looks like with the chemistry moving forward, because they're going to have a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving pieces. Something we asked Casey is like, what are you going to do when, you know, Morgan leaves, you got Sheridan leaving.
She probably despises that question right now.
Exactly. Like, and
but it's a real question.
It's a real question. Not that anybody in San Diego sports is going to ever ask a soccer specific question like that. But
which, by the way, hold on. Did you guys see the San Diego Union Tribune article from our boy Tom about this signing?
Oh,
we have a 15-year-old local product, and this article is more about Alex Morgan, and I believe he did throw in a Chargers reference.
I was
going to
ask, did he?
He did not.
No,
and the article title. Not. Yeah, like how do we wedge in Jerickson Profar, and this is where I go just like, you know what, Tom, like I don't think you really care to support women's sports and give it a stage, because like this is an article that should stand on its own when you have all these national outlets covering this.
Yeah, no, I'm not paying for that.
And we trip in Padres and Aztecs, and we make the article more about Alex Morgan than we make it about, you know, Melanie. Like that, to me, that's disappointing, and that just shows the current state of media in this town when it comes to soccer.
And on top of that, add the thing that's like it is a women's sport that it doesn't technically, according to them, garner the much as attention as the men's sport. Wrong. You sold out Snapdragon.
They're breaking the record for
Yes.
opener attendance this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And
The women's national team gets more coverage, and honestly, more people watch them than the men's national team.
yeah, and
So-
they're actually winners.
Yeah.
You know? But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, why? Like, and you know, not to harp on an individual, but like, we'll be in those same Zoom press conferences and just waiting on the question of like, oh well, you know, you guys played this and you guys played this way, and what was that like as far as playing against, you know, a male team that's a college team? How was that? Was that you played against kids that were
It was him as
half
well.
your age? Did they ever talk to you about that?
He asked it to Alex.
I mean, I heard remnants of that story, but that is the disappointing part
Yeah.
because it's like I think we're at a time where we don't need to compare. We don't need to, you know, like I often say, like, I don't think we need to put W in these league names. Like,
True.
you're not putting an M. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a Major League Baseball, but you're
Yeah.
not saying men's Major League Baseball. Like,
Yeah.
I think part of this is going forward. I'm like, we don't have to say women's soccer league. We can just say National Soccer League.
Yep. Even down to the level of like high school. I had a conversation with Diego Espinosa, head coach for Sweetwater High School. And so they have an Instagram going, and then they changed it from boys soccer to Suhai men's soccer. Excellent. The girls team also has a team, but that's the word, girls. If you say men, those aren't men. One. Two, if you're going to call them men, that's the women's team.
Yep.
If that's what you want to, you know, still use those terms, let's put everything on an equal playing field, because I mean, it's a different game overall. There's a different dynamic between those two those two types of play styles in general, but it's not like the WNBA, I think, where like it's super fundamental to the point where it's just monotonous in a lot of ways. There are little sparks of like, oh shit, like this is like world class beyond world class. And we see again with Ali, with Jakobson, you see it with Kaylin Sheridan, like the stopping penalties, plural, the way that she does on any stage is amazing to do once in a season, let alone multiple times in a season. And to have multiple players, goalkeepers that can do that with now retired Carly Telford, I mean, what more do you want? Like, I from a team to be so dominant stopping at penalties is so impressive. And I don't know if it's the studying that they do, if it's just the instinct, the intuition.
It's definitely Louis Hunt, their goalkeeper coach,
Yeah.
and Kaylin has mentioned him repeatedly when these PK situations have come up, and you know, just talking to Louis a little bit, you know, he's not somebody that's gonna ever really put the spotlight on him, but Kaylin has said like the amount of work he does in terms of studying tendencies and like going way back to even like college tape to find out where these people are going to shoot is, I think, a testament to the strength of that group.
And that brings legitimacy to the sport itself, right? Where at times, unfortunately, the resources aren't there in comparison to the men's game, but this is those steps that you need to take because the athletes are ready. Like, it's already there. You have, you know, the talent per se, but if you add that extra effort of like world-class mentality, world-class tactics, just world-class.
Is Shannon McMillan here? Because he's saying world class a lot.
I mean, I was
think,
asked to.
he's still gonna say right now, oh, she didn't score on me.
No.
So
but
actually-
yes,
yeah.
like to your point, I think with Wave you're seeing that, you know, they're building, their training facility is in Del Mar at the Surf Complex, and they are, you know, putting in a more temporary permanent before they do the permanent kind of setup.
Okay.
But you know, the funds there for like how they do nutrition to how they have, you know, mental skills coach, like they have all these things that I feel like were absent, you know, from the women's game a lot. And then, you know, even absent still right now on some of the men's teams. But to circle back and probably to put a bow on some of our Wave talk before we move forward, I am hearing April 8th, is a date that there could be a friendly for Wave, and we were just talking about the whispers that we're hearing, and we were talking about Brecken Road. We were talking about these players.
Yeah.
What do you guys know about that potential friendly?
So you're hearing whispers. We were kind of just told,
Yeah.
just because we do have the connections over, and I think you hit up.
We hit up some people that work over there.
You got a text right now.
That wasn't him.
Oh,
Oh, it's her.
Or her. Yeah, but yeah, no. So once our source gets back to us, we will try to see what we can do with it.
yeah.
I mean, I'll just say it. You don't want to say it. I'll say it. It's going to be the okay. Well,
Say it.
Say it. Say it. Say it now.
A team is going to be here.
Or the team would be over there.
Over there, and Batch just kind of gives it away in a sense. Or it's going to be Tijuana. Tijuana, las
Las
cholas.
perrísimas cholas.
Cholos femenil.
They call
which
las más perrísimas.
las más perrísimas. And so you were talking about Renee, right? We might see Renee, maybe, see what's going on over here and be like, I might want to come over on this side.
This
and
Cholos
try
team is
wave.
being dominant this season. They're playing really, really good this season. They're making playoffs for sure.
So if April 8th, if that's, if it's important to you, and I know a lot of people have this, I think this is first we're talking about it. So if you are looking forward to exactly that, what we're asking is use this cross-border connection. If it does pan out, April 8th, a friendly, I don't know if they can call it a preseason friendly or what even, I don't even know what they'll in-season friendly.
I hope it's open to the public.
Yeah.
Because I think that to me,
That would
this
be
is
huge.
To me, I think Wave is gonna realize how much the fan base here is gonna be excited about this potential match if it is Cholos. I'm like, this is probably in the top 3 of games I would be looking forward to when it comes to Wave, just because a little bit of the local connection, and I feel like everybody's been kind of screaming for it the same way, with Cholos and Loyal when it took, I think that first year obviously with COVID, but that July friendly, I think in year 2, and it packed out Torero, and I mean that to me is yes, I'm really looking forward to it, and that'd be awesome. So hopefully if that is.
I mean,
confirmed on your end.
Confirmed on my end. I was told by I don't think. So that's why I use the 2 balls and a mic, not the personal one, to connect with them. So,
I did.
Estúpido.
Oh, what are you talking about right now? I'm a little confused.
He checked out.
No, I was
You're
looking.
zoned out.
I was trying to mention it'd be cool if Wave eventually plays a team from Europe as well. Because Tigres Femenil ended up playing, I believe, the Lyon team.
Olympique Lyonnais,
And they broke a record. It was a friendly, and they had 38,000 people or 50,000, if not more, at the Tigres Stadium. So, I mean, I just think, you're going to play against Cholas, but why not expand it as well over there, right? I mean, if they're breaking all these records as well, numbers-wise.
I mean, absolutely. And I feel that's something that between the connections that Casey Stoney probably has, Jill Ellis,
Exactly.
Molly Downtain, who's their GM, I would think that would be in the cards. Now, I can understand maybe why it doesn't happen year 1, but I would hope that could be a potential year 2 thing, or going into year 3 where you do have that magnitude. Because I think you're right. If you're saying, hey, they're at what 23,500 for this weekend. It sets a record for the largest crowd ever at a home opener for NWSL. Will they get to 32? To move 8,500 tickets or 9,000? I can't do math. 8,500 tickets between now and Saturday night. I think is doable. I would say maybe that 4,000 to 5,000 range is maybe the best you're going to do on walk up. But I think we've seen, the only thing I'll point out to this, because I remember listening to sports radio in this town, and it wasn't our boy Darren Smith, who I absolutely love, but it was somebody else on his station. And it was when they sold out the game, they were breaking the record, and it was kind of we'll see if they can draw it. We'll see if they can do it again. And I know that's a cliche thing, but I think right now we're, you could say, okay, we'll see what they draw, because they play the next week.
Yes, exactly. And is this going to continue happening? Are you going to open up just the lower bowl of Snapdragon? I think that was the case And that's what was the thought process.
Yeah.
The game after last season, the second game for Snapdragon is like, okay, we sold out the first one. Let's see if we can sell out the lower bowl.
I don't think they're doing the whole stadium for all. I think it's four matches right now that they're selling out the whole stadium.
Yeah.
So you're right. But I mean, even if you get 12 to 14,000 in that lower bowl, like that, I mean, put that against any other team in that league right now. Put that against
San Diego, Loyal.
Yeah, I
Plus,
mean, well, like Loyal playing at Torero is you know.
Yeah.
Would they have 22,000 though?
No.
You're saying Loyal.
Yeah. No.
At a home opener
I
game or
don't think
something?
so.
I don't think
In what situation?
Yeah,
Would
but I don't put that against them. I don't
No,
know if
100%.
I don't know if there's an appetite, for the casual fan for USL Championship. Now, if Loyal played an Open Cup match and was able to play somebody like LAFC,
Yeah. I can see that.
maybe you could get that type of level of interest, and hopefully that's something that could possibly happen this year with Loyal. Because I think they learned last year we probably should have put in a host.
Yeah.
Because if they would have hosted LA Galaxy, that would have been, to me, a huge way to market that team to the casual fan.
Oh, come see Chicharito. Like,
Boom. There you go.
Sell
Like
out.
it sells itself, right? And then put them. Yeah. It's
we talking Loyal now? We transition?
well.
We can transition.
Yes. All right. Cool.
Sure.
Because I brought up a point before. I think last time we had you on the podcast, a 4-hour podcast, it's like if it's a reason Cholos or America is reaching out to Cholos to play at Snapdragon and not Loyal, right? Like there's the big reason. I mean, if you're gonna have a friendly against Cholos, why not have it at Snapdragon where you'll probably have more tickets as well?
There were partnerships that I could see, especially now literally bridging Loyal and Wave. Last match over at Torero with Loyal, you had Jalelis there, you had the presence of a San Diego Wave tent, and there was there was
That's new, right?
Yes, and I don't know if it's a one-off. I don't know if it's going to be new, but even then, on the digital billboards across, they were advertising Cholos versus America.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, again, if it's the synergy that's starting to happen, great. It goes back to, Wave ratioing Loyal with the players wearing the new kits. Like, sure, like, it's a connection. Like, I really appreciate that on both ends. Will it be reciprocated? You're kind of forced to at this point, even if you don't, right?
I don't know if has a Loyal guy worn a Wave kit.
I
I mean,
don't
and not calling that out in a bad way,
No,
but
no,
just
no.
saying, like, yeah, I agree. Like,
it's a free idea here.
Yeah, I think it's taken some time to see those little things, and obviously the fans always say it's like, oh, finally, these teams are embracing each other, and as I think Andrew Vasiliadis said on the podcast with y'all, like he's tried. I don't deny that he's tried, and probably he's gotten some doors shut on him, and we talked about the turnover at Wave, and it's hard when you have a lot of people coming from out of market who arrive here and, have to be sort of like brought up to speed on San Diego Loyal.
Yeah.
Brought up to speed on the impact that they've had with the soccer community here. And
Brought up to speed with 2 balls and a mic.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Excelente.
But I for you guys at the game, the Loyal win 3-0 over Phoenix, and this is obviously a Phoenix team that is not the Phoenix team we've gotten used to, but hey, you play the teams that are on your schedule and you don't make any complaints or any, whatever. But like, what did you guys take away from this match that maybe you didn't see in the win over Detroit?
The main takeaway I took was Nate kind of played it safe with Stoneman. Remember I mentioned before, if it'd be interesting to see if Nate decides to give Simba the starting spot after having a phenomenal game. He went the safe way with Stoneman. He did modify taking Elijah out and putting Bodily at the left wing back position and switching Moon over to the right. Other than that, it looked kind of like a similar lineup where you put Guido back in, and so it was a predictable lineup in a way, except Elijah out, Bodily in, kind of shocked everyone a little bit. And you kind of go to the injury report, say, is Elijah injured? Wait, no, he's on the bench. What's going on here? So that was the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, the questions there too, like surprised who showed up and who didn't show up on that lineup. I know sources have us saying that Adrian Perez was not in the starting lineup, which was surprising as well. Not starting lineup, but even
On the bench.
on the sheet anywhere. So there's sources as to why that there was a reason is why it's not necessarily soccer related. Everything's a-okay, but just putting that out there because that was like he played a really crucial role. You don't know what this Phoenix team is going to be. You might want to have that firepower that you saw in there. Although I was surprised by the firepower and the same sort of style that we got out of Collier.
I saw somebody saying you need to have the hard R.
Hard R is a bold
Not,
way to go.
not a way I would describe it, probably.
When we
Yeah.
talked to him, did he say hard R or no?
So,
said
we talked
Collier,
to him
right?
after, and he was like, "Yo, it's Collier," and then, but if you're American, it's Collier, and I was like, "Oh, okay, we'll just go with that one."
Yeah.
But no, like he brought that, that dribbling skill, that ball sticks to his leg and doesn't let it go, and it was able to dribble and maneuver around a couple defenders. You do not expect that from a giraffe-sized motherfucker like him.
And we didn't see it in the
most
first game either.
respectful way.
We didn't see it in the first game, right? Because he played at the 9 when he was subbed on. This time he kind of played at the 10 or a little like a false 9 where he got a little more freedom. And Nate mentioned in the press conference, it's his futsal background. And we talked about it on the episode as well. But it makes sense because the ball just kind of sticks to his feet and he gives those flashy passes. You mentioned like the no-look pass, which you do a lot in futsal.
Yeah. And Nate mentioned it in that article in the USL thing too, right? And for USL championship about futsal being so important in the development and the street soccer aspect of a player and just making a player well-rounded. We'll see you out there at Bridge Barcata, Nate. We've seen your brother. Fantastic player.
Oh,
and I saw him.
freestyler
I
for
saw him.
sure.
I
Yeah.
saw him play too over there. There was a little loyalty for the over/under initiative, and he was the highlight. Shout out to Ray, fantastic. Ben also got in there, great. Weston was gone, so couldn't really
Weston's
do that.
all right.
Shannon McMillan did not play or dare to step on the court because
'Cause you
I
were
was
there. Yeah, of
also
course.
in the
Too
presence.
too
of it.
afraid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. I
Yeah.
retired her.
Said Tony's here. She saw Tony and then like she started unlacing her
respect.
shoes and she said, "Let me put these away because
Not
Tony's
the
here."
Skechers. Lacing them up.
She pulled up just looking who's in the court. Like, oh, Tony.
Tony.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think Loyal scores those last 2 goals without Elliott on the pitch?
I
Like
think
how big of an impact do you think he had in creating? Because I feel like he was a bowling ball on that second goal, especially where he just set up and like Ronaldo just picked up the ball and obviously does what we know Ronaldo can do. But like, how much credit do you give to Elliott kind of facilitating obviously those two?
It's huge that you underestimate what he can do because you see him, and again, this really tall dude, Peter Crouch, familiar Peter Crouch?
We've talked. Oh yeah, we brought him up on the last episode, so
Yeah.
I deep dived
Oh yeah,
a little bit. Yes,
how'd you like him?
I mean now I just see Elliott because that's the comparison you have. But
But yeah, and so that's a very stiff type of rigid player, attacker. And so when you see that type of figure, you're like, okay, well, he's not going to be able to be elastic with his movements, and that's that underestimation just for a second is what you don't know if you can go in for a tackle because first of all, he's huge and you're going to get run over. Like, do you get posterized or do you just get out of the way? Or do you just kind of idly stand by and just try to go back and see what he's going to do, wait for the mistake? But he didn't make a mistake. But when 5 defenders do that at once and they're just kind of following him, then you can have all the space in the world. That's what ended up happening there. He also, now that people pay attention to like, oh shit, in the first 2-3 minutes, this isn't the stiff center forward, center attack or whatever. Now I have to focus on him. But when you do that, guess what? You just had Ronaldo Damus come in and he's desequilibrante. He's absolutely
Shifty with it.
shifty and creating his own chaos in his own style as well. So to answer that question, without Collier, I don't think they get those 2 goals, which I think 3-0 was a little bit generous of a scoreline It was.
I mean, Phoenix got, I think, they were probably exhausted, probably a little lackadaisical, like they looked like, especially I'm watching Harvey on that third goal and he just, flops down and then just chooses not to come back at all.
Yeah.
So I feel, this is not a Phoenix team that I got used to. Like watching this game, I was like, this is Phoenix, really, and I know they had 6 guys that didn't dress, and I know, I watched the little presser ahead of this game with their head coach, and he was saying, hey, we have 12 new guys on this team, so we're not expecting, to have probably the results that we're hoping to have down the road. And he was almost setting up like, I don't think we're gonna be able to compete with Loyal. But like again, Loyal wins 3-0. Give Koke the clean sheet. I know he got part of the team of the week, right? With
team of the week
USL.
this week.
Team of the week, yeah.
But like I think 2 guys that were underrated in this game, and I'm curious to see if you guys agree with me. I think Joe Corona, I think Charlie Adams were pivotal because for the high press that Loyal was doing, it did not generate a goal till the 42nd, 43rd minute.
Yeah, the ending moments of the first half. Yeah.
And I feel like it was Charlie being crafty, trying to draw a foul. They get a set piece, I think, in that 40th minute, which was really a great scoring chance. It looked like Ebby and I think it was Grant or Kyle Adams, like almost like both went up for the ball and collided. And it actually would have been a great opportunity. And then out of this, there's a turnover that Corona forces after Phoenix seemed to have a little bit of a 4-on-3 and a possible, shot on goal attempt. And then, from what we saw this whole match, it was like Phoenix was able to get out of these movements here pretty well. And it's like they just seem to slip up. Charlie picks it off. Obviously, we know Conway puts it together. But like, what did you see out of the midfield this game? Am I giving them too much credit?
I don't think you are, just because essentially a lot of their role is going to be defensive. And you get a clean sheet, they play a big factor in that. Like you said, Joe Corona cuts that play, which could have potentially been a goal-scoring opportunity for Phoenix, right? So I do think they have a great game, and I talked to Tony about it. Corona's not going to be the guy where you hear his name too often, and that just means he's doing his job. Like, if you hear your center mids named a lot, it's mostly going to be because they're making mistakes. So
Yeah.
especially your 6.
Yeah, and it's a back and forth just in the midfield, and that's when you get a game that's just tight and just bottled up because of those mistakes, right? Nobody can break each other's midfield because they're getting in the way of themselves, or they're just not completing the simple passes in the midfield where you need to start connecting those.
And then the way this midfield duo is looking, I think Joe Corona just can do everything Colin Martin can do and a little better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So-
How have you noticed the fit? Because obviously Colin came on around the 60 something.
Yeah.
For
It'll be
and I know
interesting.
Adams went out with a little bit of a knock.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in Sacramento. But I think so far Joe Corona and Charlie Adams have just complemented each other very well. With the experience that Joe Corona has and the experience that Charlie also has, I feel like Charlie can kind of rely on Joe a little bit and say, okay, like a little bit off weight off his shoulders because he knows what Joe Corona can do. The only thing with Colin and Charlie Adams is the chemistry they had already. We've
Very
seen it
much
from
so.
year 1 to year 4. Having that duo, it's just, wow, you don't get that too often in a league like this where players switch off teams a lot. So it's interesting because Joe Corona just creates that class and he has that experience and that talent. But if you're able to keep Colin as well, essentially just rotating them, this is a championship team. And I know it's very early in the season, but the way we've seen them, it could potentially be a championship team if everyone stays healthy and they're playing the way they're playing. Again, it's 2 games in.
Are you the one writing the undefeated headlines in their press releases?
San Diego Loyal,
No, I'm not.
undefeated after 2 games.
I mean, they're not wrong.
No,
they're not wrong.
Yeah. No, they're not wrong. They're not
they're
wrong
not.
at all. They're
They're
not wrong at all.
But
But
let's see how they do on the road.
I would agree. I think they've shown that they're going to be a very elite team. I would say, like top 5 throughout the year in terms of skill level, in terms of probably what we're going to see from them.
After that first half, I said to myself, wow, this isn't going to be the high-scoring Loyal team that we're going to see. This is going to be a boring Loyal team this season that's going to get results, though. And that's the question. Do you rather have results than great performances? And, I mean, you asked Landon Donovan before, and he said, well, we want great performances despite results. because with great performances, results will eventually come. And I think Nate Miller is more of we're going to get the results regardless. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty, but we're going to try to win every single game.
Tony, do you agree? Because Nate Miller said this, that he felt they got the more dangerous chances in Phoenix in this game, and it showed obviously when you win 3-0. If I don't watch this game, I'm going, yeah, that makes sense. Like you probably did have the more. When I rewatch this game, I don't know if I got the sense that Loyal created a ton of dangerous chances.
Yeah.
I think they were very clinical, and obviously, give it up to Ronaldo on the finish. To me, I'm like, that's a solo job by him. And I feel like he made something out of not necessarily a dangerous chance, but he made it a dangerous because he's a dangerous player. But like, what did you see? Did you think they were the more dangerous team in the attacking front this game?
Not necessarily most dangerous. Like I said, they did take advantage of the little opportunities that they had. This is a team that has had the philosophy of ball possession. We're controlling the tempo. We're the ones that's controlling how this is dictated as far as where it's going to be played. And it's usually the other way around, right? Where Loyal is very, very, they're open to counterattacks and because of that style of play. But in this time around, it was the other way. Where I don't think that Loyal teams of the past had those players necessarily to be able to do successful counterattacks as they did. But overall, I think Phoenix had the better overall offensive performance, thanks in part for Team of the Week Koke, who was stopping a lot of those shots and in important positions, and the defensive line, who at times, and I think that's kind of where Nate felt a little need to switch something up, because they were getting just taken advantage of over on the wings. They were getting just. It was smooth sailing against Detroit over on the right side, and so on Loyal's left side, because again you have Nick Moon playing. You have Nick Moon playing there, and obviously you're promoting him to want to move forward a little bit more. That's going to take some defensive efforts back. You have Jackson Kazanzu, Simba there, so you kind of have to play around with things. Blake Bodley. He scored. He was a great guy, great smile, but
I think Loyal did get lucky where Phoenix are just not that good, because they did have 16 shots, only 3 of those were on target though. So if the other team is just not hitting shots on target, essentially you can't say we had the best performance, right? You're allowing 16 shots. It's just Phoenix weren't good enough to get those shots on target, and then those 3 on target, Koke managed to save. Some with ease. The other ones were pretty good saves as well, right? They had the most possession. They had 67% possession, and which goes to say like Loyal did play that counterattack, especially towards the end, right? And it worked out with Collier in transition, just creating those chances. So, like you said, Tony, the score doesn't really reflect what we saw on the field. It's just one of those games where Phoenix was just not good.
Yeah, they weren't sharp. The plays that they were making were great, like the back-to-back stops by Koke. Those were actually very good.
It gave me Loyal year 1, year 2, where they're getting to know each other. It's a new team, and it's not going to be the Phoenix that people are used to.
How much of a change do you think you'll see from this team when they play them in Phoenix? What is it, April 1st?
April 1st, yeah. Their home opener.
It'll be interesting to see how Loyal does on the road, because, again, you're going to go play Sacramento, who are known to have a pretty big attendance, right? You had 5,000 at Torero.
It's a great environment in Sacramento.
And you're going to 11,000, 12,000 in Sacramento. So we'll see what that reflects on Loyals and see how they perform. And then you're going to go to Phoenix and a brand new stadium.
Again?
Yeah, it's their new stadium.
So they moved. They're now in Phoenix.
I can't keep track. I feel like they moved. I feel like
they're
they
not
moved
in
this temporary
Chandler anymore.
stadium.
They're in Phoenix. They're not Chandler.
Interesting.
Well,
that's cool.
Rising. So it'll be interesting to see how they react on the road and if they're going to be a good road team.
Yeah. Talking about somebody that was absent from being on the pitch, Elijah Martin. I heard your conversation with Alan Underwood. He goes, if I was writing up a lineup, I'd probably write Elijah first because he's just somebody that you've come to know. Now, we did talk about this initially with this group of returners, a lot of new people that it's going to be interesting when some of these guys that have been here since year one and have had big roles. And, for Elijah, he's a fan favorite. Like I would, if he's not the main fan favorite, he's like second. I wouldn't even call him third. How are y'all seeing this play out in terms of, because we did talk about like, hey, what's going to happen when some of these guys, is it going to affect chemistry, whatever. Now, I think what I noticed, and I give a shout out to Elijah for doing, is on that second goal when Ronaldo scored, he was the first guy to mob that from the bench.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to really play a factor on him being a phenomenal teammate, but him playing a little bit out of his normal role in game one and maybe not having the best game that he would have. Like, how are you guys factoring? Do you think that's held against him? Do you think it was just a matchup thing that they wanted bodily? I know Nate said in his post-game press conference, I wanted a left foot winger, but I know Chiva, you've said Elijah has a left foot.
He's preferably likes his left foot a lot more. But I think Nate is going to rotate some positions a lot this season. But I mean, we saw it post-game, right? So when players don't get playing time or enough playing time, they have to run at the end to kind of get that fitness level going, right? So we see a lot of after post game. So Elijah was the only one running the sprints.
The only one.
I think Collier eventually had to
He
run
got
as
a
well.
couple
I
in.
think
Damu got
Damu's had a couple in,
Yeah.
but Elijah had to stay the longest
The entire time.
and you can tell he was not happy. And I mean, you're essentially the only other player other than Ferry, the back of Gogi, who usually is not going to get minutes in a game. You're essentially one of the only players that didn't get any minutes, right? Where you're used to playing full 90s last season. So essentially, you can be upset, but it's just that professional in him that's could be mad at himself and saying, okay, I need to work harder. I need to do this at training to prove myself to Nate Miller, where I hope that's the case. And essentially we talked to players about the competition within this team, right? It just drives you. If you're a true professional and you're passionate about the game, it's going to drive you and say, I'm better than this guy. You're going to have to start me. So hopefully that's what we see. I don't think Elijah's the type of player that would say, well, you know what, F this. Like, no. Like, I think he's legit going to say, I'm going to work harder and I prove myself to Nate that I'm deserve that starting spot.
That's his whole career, right? He's been proving people wrong.
Even in his hometown.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and in Fresno, right? Like, Brian, I know you'll have some cool stuff.
559, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, especially this game too, because you had not just
Shoot that banner.
that banner. Yeah, this one. This is the one you hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the heart and hustle, and then you have this rolled out, this trapo for Elijah, because obviously he deserves it. Up in the crowd, there were fans holding We Go Bananas for Elijah, wearing banana costumes, and that has to hurt. Like, that has to, like, really, you see the love and support, and you can't reciprocate it with what you do on the field. That has to factor into the mental, just the mental exercises that you go through as an athlete. And so if anybody, I think, is mentally prepared and strong in order to face a potential challenge, then it's going to be Elijah. Yeah. Will he rise above? That's, going to be up to what he does in the training field, on the training ground. And even then, right, like, if there's times where managers may have preferences, may have people that they just go, that's their go-to person. Tumi Moshabani was on that field for a little bit too long for comfort. He was kind of all over the place once again. The first 20 minutes, he exhausted himself. He was playing very hard. The referee was allowing them to play, and he kind of utilized that and was able to be successful in getting balls back and being aggressive. But again, I just haven't seen that year, I don't know, 2, wherever he was most successful, Moshabani. And, you have options on the bench. So I think as this team kind of grows into the chemistry, grows into the players that they have, they'll be able to make that, make those corrections. And eventually it's going to be on Nate. Like, his choice of who's out there, his 11, is going to reflect exactly what's going on between his ears. And he's said that he's ready for that responsibility. I think he is. He's been a head coach before. So it'll remain to be seen in that sense.
Is there anybody you're not seeing as much of in these first two matches that you're going, I was hoping to see more of this player?
Whatever happened to Andrew Carlton? I haven't seen him. No.
You'll see him with the Las Vegas Lights coming to town.
That's a great question, honestly.
I mean, you've seen a little bit of a variance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Colin Martin,
matchups.
right? You want to see Colin Martin out there, but again, we mentioned it with Joe Corona, and then he had that knock as well. So, but I think he has been essentially playing the key players that you want to see on the field. So it's hard to just really pinpoint like, I mean, unless this player is like you're a fan favorite of this player. Like, I mean, for this game, you would say, oh, man, I wish I saw Elijah out there. But again, you can only make 5 substitutions, and luckily for Nate, he won 3-0. Because had he lost this game and Bodley would have been the reason for 2 of those goals or something, then you could have made the case like, well, had you started Elijah, maybe this wouldn't happen. So it's hard to judge him based on that decision when you win 3-0, right? So until he makes a mistake like that, then you're gonna kind of call him out. But other than that, players that I wish I could see, I think we've seen a good amount of the players.
Yeah, I mean, I have 4 years of watching Elijah on defense, and maybe only one of seen Bodley in this role. I wasn't as impressed defensively with the crispness of Bodley's game.
Yes.
I think he made quite a few turnovers. I think there was a mental lapse on, a scoring opportunity where in the second half where he just kind of let the guy kind of leak through, and it's like he almost forgot that there was a guy there. And if the Phoenix player controls that a little better and passes that guy, that's just a tap in goal. So again, first game for Bodley, we can always give guys a little bit of a clearance in match 1.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that I'm intrigued to watch is Elijah Martin in the starting lineup in Sacramento.
I mean, the thing with the lineup, right, is that we've seen everybody except for one player in these 2 games. Hackworth. Hackworth hasn't seen minutes.
No, he came in the first game.
Oh, that's right, he did.
At the end.
So that's it. Yeah. So there you go. Everybody on the roster has already been rotated. Duran Free, but everybody has.
That's
had
pretty
their time.
impressive.
Yeah, 100%. And then, to give credit to where it's credit's due, if you have 2-0, 2 clean sheets, sure. How you did it, it's not pretty. Is Miller ball going to be boring ball sometimes? Maybe.
Yeah.
That's going to be left to be seen. But, I mean, that in itself is kudos to the team and the depth that you have in 2 games. Because, again, if we want to really go back to last year or when it was 0-4, if you really want to
that was
judge,
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
If you really want to go ahead and say and pin your hat on the first 2 games of this season, just remember what happened 2 years ago. Everything can just flip. It's a long season. So you can lose the next 4 games, and then what are we going to be saying, right? Like, well, had Elijah been here, had Elijah been there, had, you played Collier there, it's left, I don't know.
Well, can we talk about some MLS stuff?
Ooh, yeah, I'm down. I was told by a certain somebody, certain chairman, like, oh, you knew a lot about this Ronaldo Damu thing, but not a lot of MLS. So I am ready to hear and talk and do more MLS.
Well, so I'll share what I've heard, and I'm curious with you all having gone through this with Soccer City and a couple of their, obviously just growing up here. There's a really reliable source that I talk to who knows the investor group that's, circling San Diego, has told me December of this year, it's happening. So, it's that howl in the distance, when you're out in the woods and it's like, where's that coming from? I hear it's coming. I hear that the investor group is a great group from, and I know that's a very vague word to say, but like I heard from the source that I have who is an industry veteran in sports and says, these people are legit. They're great people. And they're starting to connect more with some people in town.
Yeah.
I am hoping to be introduced to them in April sometime.
Okay.
So, what I can share, if that happens, as we know with MLS and rumors here, they can be fluid. It can be postponed a year, but I'm intrigued to find out more and to really hopefully have that introduction be made. Obviously one source is only one source. So I talked to somebody else that also is very plugged in to soccer in this country and also said it's coming. And that person told me it does not include San Diego Loyal.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not trying to drop the bombshell. I can't really confirm that other than what this person told me. But they did say, yeah, no, I think that they said there were conversations with people at Loyal and this investor group, and that it doesn't seem to be something that at this moment in time is connected.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think in that case, is this technically rumor? So let's
Yeah. Technically,
just-
right?
yeah, just-
Yeah,
rumor. We're
rumor.
used to those this season.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be huge.
Call, man. Shit.
I mean, who's no? I challenge them to make a phone call to these investors, right? Like that's what really needs to be connecting, and it's going to be interesting to see which team or who or what this investor group wants to come in and connect with, right? Because you can very much go and start with what you have here at San Diego Loyal and be like, all right, let's bring this on up, or you can connect with another team that already has, networking laid out in a stadium that was almost kind of tailor-made for the possibility of MLS to come in, and
things can change, but for now it's looking like this, right?
Yeah, I mean, for now. And I think we all can agree. Like, I don't think any of us wants to say something that excludes or, is too much of we're taking that and running with it.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm never going to share something here that's more of just the factual things of something that I've been told. But I think that's been an intriguing question this whole time. When MLS comes, is it going to include Loyal, right? Mm-hmm. It should include Loyal, or people, have other thoughts on that. I think for a lot of people here and a lot of people that are probably listening to this, I think they're probably hoping, hey, I hope it includes Loyal. Well, it's like the problem, as we know, I think, Garber, the MLS commissioner, kind of said like the cost for this has gone dramatically up since the last time. And this is talking more than 250 million, right? For an expansion fee. I think they talked about it could be even double that.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's something that Andrew Vasiliadis, the Loyal owner, has said, like, hey, I don't have that kind of money, which is
that's what it is.
Is what it is. I would say, just from me personally, I hope there's more dialogue between what they've learned, even if it's not going to include them. I hope Loyal is used as a huge resource in terms of, hey, this is what we've learned from this market. Yeah. And as we see, whether that connection does materialize, a lot can change. If this timeline of December is true,
It's soon.
That's soon.
That's soon as hell.
That's very soon. And I would guess that would probably make them follow the St. Louis model of, hey, we're not going to play in 2024, but we'll play in 2025.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
rumor.
It's, as it stands, is very interesting to hear, and I really do think that hopefully, like you said, that some way or another that what has been built here with Loyal, including them or not, is part of the makeup of an MLS team that comes in. I know it'd be disheartening to a lot of people for it not to, as well as you have to see the practicality of this. This is a business, and on a business side of it, business decisions need to be made. And if it does not include Loyal, I really hope that those relationships are utilized in a kosher way and move forward and just build and, fan the flames of soccer in San Diego. Because at the end of the day, that's what you said as a club you wanted to bring up as Loyal, right? Local soccer, bring it together, soccer capital of whatever. This would be a very important chapter in the story of soccer in San Diego if, Loyal was to do that. But they can also go the other way. They can also just say, you're not including us, figure it out. And
As we're entering kind of year 4 of Loyal, like when you hear that, and maybe the potential reality, like how does that hit you?
Again, I'm looking at this through a specific scope, right? Where we want to make the this World Cup in 2026, and MLS coming to San Diego would be a huge opportunity for this project that we have, right? And
You're being selfish now.
I'm completely being selfish,
So-
like 100%. So to me, it's exciting. Whether it includes Loyal or not, I would have liked if it included you because of the relationship we built there already, and we're kind of established within Loyal. But I mean, you never know. This new team could potentially see what we've been doing here in San Diego and say, "Well, I like this guys. Let's bring him in." So you never know. I do think MLS in San Diego would be huge. So I am on the side where I want MLS here. I mean, we talked to Joe Corona.
He wants MLS.
He
here.
wants
a
MLS
player
here.
on the San Diego Loyal
So-
wants MLS very openly and has talked
yeah,
about it.
So he said it'd be good for the city as well. So I'm excited. I kind of want it to be December already.
Yeah. Well, I can say that, right. The stadium for MLS is there.
yeah.
No,
I've,
for sure.
You know, seeing the facilities inside there, especially for home locker room, they're pro level.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
especially for that, like that, those facilities are built for, you know, a 90, 120 person football team for the Aztecs.
Yeah.
So I
Press
can,
conference room.
yeah, the press conference room,
Excellent.
but even like the rehab stuff that they have there, you know, like the San Diego Wave team can literally, like, it's a swimming pool to them because of obviously the numbers are not as big as a football team. So I think an MLS team obviously would look at that and go, yeah, like, yeah, this is turnkey. Now, an element of this that I think kind of hits the last topic that I want to touch on is the South Bay of this city, because as somebody that's not from here, I feel like I've come here, and when I first came to San Diego and freelanced for San Diego Loyal, I was staying in Del Mar.
Yes. Yes, you were.
Which
You were-
is-
well, we had this conversation
Yeah.
because you were house shopping, and you're like, I don't know where to look. I'm like, well, like South Bay is really cool. Where you at right now? Del Mar.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Which, hey, I did live in Chula Vista.
Yeah,
I lived 5
100%.
minutes from the border when I first moved here, and I think the more I've obviously gotten connected to people in this community, such as both of y'all and others, I've come to really, I guess, even trip my feet over doing some stuff, especially in Chicano Park, that rubbed the people the wrong way.
Yes.
And, you know, doing it probably with a heart that was in the right place. But I understand, right, when you're doing something, even if your heart's in the right place, guess what? Maybe it's not coming off the way it really is, or maybe it's just not the right way to do it.
Right.
Now, I see this from the soccer community and soccer teams in this community, San Diego Loyal, San Diego Wave, and I feel like everybody's going, "Oh, we're active in the South Bay." Like, for you, who owns the South Bay is and why right now is it such a heavy, I feel like, focus of a battle for trying to get this community?
I think
The
yeah,
Sockers own the fucking South Bay.
hell
San
yeah.
Diego Sockers.
San Diego Sockers
Sockers
on the South Bay,
16
man.
time.
But I mean, I think essentially it comes down to bringing more raza into their stadium, into their fan base, right? I think they know that the Latino culture is so big in soccer that they have to have it in their stadiums. They have to have it. So I think so far Loyal have done more in the South Bay than Wave. They have been here longer though. I think Wave just had an event at M Cakes on 3rd Avenue, which is a start. It's not everything.
I was
but
there.
You
I
were
think
there,
I think they're doing something in El Cajon this week.
They are doing something in El Cajon as well. Not the South Bay.
El Cajon is not South Bay, right?
No, but
But how do y'all feel about this? Like, what do you feel like? I guess if you would say, what about the outreach that they're doing? Do you think it's making a difference? Are you seeing the people from those communities come out, or are you seeing people?
nobody in Chula Vista owns 2 Range Rovers that were there with the $200 wave kits. Obviously, the first 200 that they released.
Now, question to that though,
Yes.
because this is what I said when I shot Charlie Adams in Chicano Park,
Yes.
and I said, for me, introducing Charlie to this area of town that he's never been in is impactful in its own right. So do you feel like, right, you saw the Range Rovers on 3rd Avenue? Like, do you also think, or am I just thinking too granular and I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to find a positive here?
I think that it's a reflection of what the team actually is, and it's a reflection of who's in the stadium, right? You have a lot of Surf.
You're talking Wave right now.
Yes, talking Wave right now. Yeah. And I think even then, like the reflection of what's on the other side of Loyal, you see what they're doing. They threw Alejandro Guido over at the Emo Brown podcast for 45 minutes, right? Great, fantastic. And that's kind of like going back to the roots where you saw Guido have that personality. In the first 3 minutes, he was like, fuck, man, like that red card like that I got against Oakland, I can't be fucking chingada madre. And so you're like, all right, like this is kind of, what we want to see. We want to do a little bit more than that. We want to, clean up the only San Diego Loyal player in this studio, no longer on the team. So we want to kind of like bendecir, like just throw the holy water.
Yeah, you can turn that page. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And so, I think in that sense, I think Loyal has been able to be a little bit more successful in doing that. There are haymakers that are thrown at times that are like, I get it, but like, why? Again, like Benito Juarez had a birthday in this month. One of the most important Mexican presidents. I don't know if that's why there was a mariachi band at the Loyal game. I'm trying to make those connections. Like, I don't just want it to be
doing it to do it.
Yeah, I want it to be intentional, right? If you're being intentional about going to M Cakes, fantastic. Do something about it. If you have, it's simple. Have you ever seen the culture of radio stations here in San Diego where there's these big buses?
Mm-hmm.
The huge like chore buses, and especially back in the day where they'd tell you, hola, vamos a estar en Kimball Park, or we're going to be here at this time. If you have a bumper sticker in your car, you can win free tickets. Boom, people come in and it's a party. They have the actual show on remote right there. They have raffle prizes. They give away microwaves. They give away food. It's a party. It's literally a block party of a pop-up event. And so I'm not saying, hey, you're going to get people by giving them free stuff, but they don't really know who these players are in the South Bay
community likes free stuff.
Yeah, we do.
You see a line, we're going to get on it.
As I was leaving, there was clearly a young couple walking opposite of me, and they were going to the event, and they're like, oh, is Alex Morgan here? And I'm like, no, sorry. Oh, what about the tall one? The tall forward. Korniak? Sure, yeah. No, she's not here either. Well, who's here? Oh, well, Poe's here, so-and-so's here. Okay, let's go. And they just left a missed opportunity. And so it's because you need to let these players kind of show their personality a little bit more, show who they are, so the fan base naturally falls in love with them, not just with the way that they play. And so, if that's the avenue of events that we're going, it's a great start. But you have to be able to grow, and you have to be intentional with how you do things. And I've talked with people within the club as well that want to have these events and want to start coming back to the South Bay. But again, don't just use the South Bay. Don't just use it as a instrument for your marketing ploys. And this goes for all teams. I think the one who did it well too was, even thinking about Chicano Park, were the San Diego Padres.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've used Chicano Park in a tasteful way where it's not the center focus of their marketing thing, but it's, hey, this is a pillar of the community. The South Bay is where it's at for a lot of things. Even then, it was used for MLB The Show, which is the national brand of baseball in the video game sense. The last year's show started at Chicano Park. And I was like, great. Like, this gives insight into what San Diego truly is. And I would love for more insight of what Escondido is. I don't know much. Talk about Del Mar, the Del Mar Fair. That's what it was for me. Like, that's about it. I don't know much about Vista.
Almost like, right, these little neighborhoods they're more than just the sign.
Yeah.
Right. The iconic San Diego, signs of these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Like,
Hillcrest,
yeah.
North Park.
I mean, I guess to maybe my last question on this, but like, right, you talked about good marketing what to you rouses? I know you guys talked about free stuff, or there's a line I'm going to get in it, but like, what have you guys seen work well with not only grabbing the attention in this community down here in the South Bay, but also like, what do the people in this community care about that, right, these teams could provide?
I think personally, you know, people in the Mexican community, a lot of the thing is Loyal First Division, the MLS. No, okay, and that turns them off immediately.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's true. So that I don't think anything else that they try to do will still say, well, yeah, I want to go. Like eventually, what's gonna turn the Latino community on and just being present is going to be an MLS team. Because then they're gonna say, "Whoa, Chicharito can come play here." Like you're telling me, we can eventually bring a player from Real Madrid that's 33 years old, and like I want to see that player here. That player's never gonna come to Yoso Loyal.
Yeah, it's not like you're watching Champions League, right? Like it's MLS. We talk about MLS this, MLS that. For most of the soccer world, MLS has been up until recently, maybe still recently, a retirement league.
Yeah.
Like where the big players come over. So why not have Tony Cruz play here at Snapdragon? Why not have Luka Modric play at Snapdragon? Like sure, but at the same time, you still have to kind of balance that out. And something I've always thought, and this is for any team that would like to do this, and the San Diego Sockers again do this very well. The South Bay cares about family. South Bay cares about their kids, because most of the people that are working in the South Bay work more than 8 hours, multiple jobs, just to put food on their family's table. We see it. We work at the nonprofit that starts with the Y, not the YMCA, but it starts with the Y. And I'm looking through these Excel spreadsheets of families that are jumping on free childcare and programming and the need for that. And so you just see how across the board, like there's just a need for people to take care of their own and people to take care of families. So in order to do that, you have to be part of the family. You have to become one of our own. And it's not easy. And how do you do that is you really get in there. And it's not necessarily just, I want to get in to set something up for the people of South Bay. What is in it? And it's, in a way, it sounds a little bit superficial, but like, what's in it for us? Like, okay, free tickets. I have to plan a whole day around this for a ticket, and that's worth a little bit too much than it should, but not enough for me to be like, I want to spend
or give up a work day.
Or give up a work day. Yeah. Like
So,
you are never gonna see really a lot of people from the South Bay who work those jobs on a day at a midweek game. You're just not, because they have to get up at 6 a.m. They have to go and cross the border.
Because you can't afford to call out, because then you can get fired. And then if you get fired, you don't have a job. So how am I going to put food on the table?
With that said, right, like elementary schools are there. Middle schools are there. High schools are there. They have sports. They have soccer.
Yes.
They have, they have a need for resources. They have a need to be taken care of. I know I heard, Ricardo Campos on probably some meeting that I was incognito in, talking about, hey, like, tell us these things. Like, we want to go out there, but it's not necessarily just going out there. It's being intentional with how you present it and saying, hey, let us help out. We want to be part of this. One of the coolest things that Loyal ever did was the giveaway, when they gave resources to the migrant children in the convention center. Yeah. That to me was one of the coolest, if not the coolest thing that San Diego Loyal has ever done. And they didn't do it necessarily for press. They used it for press correctly. I would say, like, it was done in a tasteful manner.
Yeah, I had to be really cautious because I think that the privacy. I actually walked through the convention center with all those kids. That was that was probably one of the realest moments that I've had working for a sports team, because I got connected with the woman that connected with Loyal, and I wasn't really involved in that. I know there was a little clinic.
Yeah.
And that was, I agree. There was meaning to that. You saw the impact, and we always talked about, right, like, do it more for the photo op, because, right, as somebody that works in social, I can go to these events and take a photo and show you kids and talking to the players and smiling. Mm-hmm. But, like, I think what I found to be more impactful is, right, like, let me get a mic in front of that kid or the mom and, like, say what the impact is. But, right, there has to be There has to be something more meaningful. I think the only other thing I'm curious, and it's something that, right, I've talked about with Loyal and Wave, and I think this is where Loyal obviously has the edge, but representation.
Yeah.
San Diego Wave. You know, I did that video with, you know, the girl, the Echa Leganes video with the 8-year-old, you know, Mexican girl. And it's like her favorite player is Alex Morgan, but there is no, you know, Mexican player on this team. Does it, and like what kind of, I know we talked about Chicharito, if there was an MLS team, Chicharito, but like, do you think that is such a element on the women's side, especially for these young girls?
Yes, but then a lot of the girls growing up here, you already have the U.S. women's national team being the best out there, right? So they do resonate a lot with Alex Morgan and a lot of those players, as compared to for a lot of boys and men, they're Mexican national supporters fan. Like, so they want to see those Mexican players out there, like in the men's team. But I think a lot for the girls is, yeah, it'd be cool. And they're doing is with the girl that you signed, right? Berenice? Well, what was her name?
Barcenas.
Mel B. So I don't mess up. Mel B. And so you can start seeing it with that. That's a step in the right direction. But I do think they relate a lot with the American team players, because you ask a lot of the girls and they might not know a lot of the Mexican nationality players that play in Liga MX or that play in the women's Mexican national team. But it would be cool for the community as well to have players that are from San Diego.
And then just to kind of circle on that, like that thing that Ricardo had said was like, hey, like we're trying to get out in the community. And somebody was like, well, I know this team that plays in Montgomery Field where Joe Corona played, or that plays in this little dirt lot that doesn't have a lot of resources. It'd be really cool if you connected with them and you know, gave 20 soccer balls or anything Loyal branded. Have a tournament where you have 8 teams with Loyal crests but different colors. The purple Loyal team versus the red Loyal team versus the green Loyal team. And then you just make it's called a torneo relámpago, which is just a lightning tournament within one day. And
I pitched something like that to them
Those
before.
are cool. Those are fun.
And what was kind of discussed there is like, okay, cool. Well, let's connect with those people. So it's incumbent on people like us, the people who are listening, the people who are asking, hey, come to the community, hey, do this, to get those connections going too, because we know the people that are the head coaches that have also kids of their own, that have jobs that go over and then coach the strangers' kids for 2 hours after, that need those resources, but those connections need to be made. And so is it the club who has to go down there? Is it the people who have to throw it over to the club? And I think it's the people who know these areas of need that need to connect with the club that says that they listen. Call their bluff. Call it every single time. If you know somebody that plays and has a team that needs resources, that need lights, that need this, why not reach out? Like for us, I was like, hey, you guys we have a little dirt lot. We can put a little practice field there. It's not, regulation size, but you can possibly have something here. 100% they looked into it, and it didn't work out logistically wise within my organization and Loyal, but the effort was made. So 100% they from what I've seen, they will make that effort, but we also have to tell them what we want. And that goes into a whole different thing of like, even 109 locals, chavos. If you really think that they need to do more, tell them what they want, because they're not going to listen until somebody speaks to them. And it's the same 2-3 people sometimes talking. Sometimes it's us. And then we're like, the bad guys were like, guys, like, fuck, like talk some soccer, talk something this, like give us a break. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the only thing I've noticed too from it, working in teams for a lot of my career, social media has really killed true grassroots marketing. And I can tell you, I have not found many front offices that I've worked in, and have worked in quite a lot, that you have people that have the energy to do grassroots marketing. Because you're right, like it involves going out and maybe having a conversation with the same people over and over again and hanging out and having a beer with them for 4 hours. And then you got to go back and then you got to go, oh crap, I got to do my actual job now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, no, that is an actual job. And I think social media has killed obviously that to a certain extent. And now the ability to be like, oh, well, I'll just target an ad in the South Bay, for this. So like almost grassroots has turned into more, like hyper targeted marketing.
Yes.
But then again, like there's even like blanket things, and we can talk about the resources of front offices like the size of Loyal and Waves is slowly growing. But I would agree, like you need a grassroots marketing person that is, Jerry Jimenez is a liaison for them with, the Sirens, but has to do a lot of other stuff when it comes to tickets. So it's like you take away the time that he has for boots on ground to have those connections and to link people, like you said. So yeah, it does get pushed a lot to, I feel like, the fans that care the most.
Yeah.
And, I think that's just something to keep an eye on. I know we were wanting to end with this talk about the South Bay, but it's intriguing because every time I don't hear, oh, we need more fans from this area. It's, hey, how do we make a connection in the South Bay, south of the 8? And I obviously, as we saw, maybe the Sockers are right doing it the most authentic.
Yeah.
At this point, and Loyal, especially this year, I would say, the effort's been made to be
Yes,
to be
100%.
more intentional. And I think you're starting to see now Wave kind of get to a point where they're recognizing, yes, this area from our marketing and outreach standpoint has been underserved. I'm also curious as somebody that doesn't work in their marketing department full time to kind of see where that goes. I'll be at the event in El Cajon.
Okay.
So I'm going to be curious, like, how does this feel? Like, what kind of fan base do we see, right, at this event? But I think,
Range Rovers.
yeah,
A bunch of Teslas.
yeah, this is a conversation that can kind of leak and keep going for another hour. So, but, I think those are topics. And I would say that incoming MLS team, if it does actually happen, I hope it starts there and they realize the importance of that community, right away. Cause I think, the one team I think about with soccer that nailed this to a T was LAFC.
AFC.
Absolutely. And I lived in North Hollywood at the time when I saw this happening. And I remember being like, dang, these events, these supporter events, or if they're not supporter events, like you got the smoke everywhere, you got hundreds of people. And I had no idea, Jerry Jimenez was involved in any of that from the get-go, but I'm going like, there has to be a recipe like that. And, I think the fan base here would be, they've been ready for that. So I hope that's sort of the energy that the incoming investor group would have. But,
And if you want to, it's not a black or white thing, not a brown thing, it's not a whatever thing. I guess let it be a green thing, because at the end of the day, that's money. Like if you really want, you're leaving money on the table.
yeah.
With that, and it's if maybe that's the way to kind of entice these clubs to be like, hey, like this is a huge portion of people that can be, harnessed. I would say in a way, just like make sure that if that's the bottom line that you care for, then it still makes sense to really reach out intentionally, because you will organically build that fan base and they will come. They will come. Like if you get a family out there and they have a good time, their hard-earned money, and it's the wrestling Vince McMahon thing, like you have, and just the wrestler thing, right? Why do you put your body on the line in an auditorium with 3 people every single night? Well, because those 3 people paid for that event with their hard-earned money, so you owe them that respect. If there's 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, or 5, those people still made the sacrifice and took the time to go see you. And in this case, you have something to offer, whether you can say, here, I want to give back. And I think, there's avenues to do that. And I think hopefully these are conversations that people listen to and get inspired to kind of, kick something off for themselves or really sit with it and want to really make an impact in their own way. And it's still doable. It's still doable in many ways.
Yeah. No, I think the only thing, like you said, I don't think these conversations happen in a front office, really, of like, hey,
Yeah.
how are we serving this community? Is it meaningful? Because it's like for a lot of these people, I don't think they have the time to really think that way. And I feel like I was a unicorn and being the one that would like trip up. And I, you know, like I remember having a lot of these conversations with Ricardo Campos when I was at Loyal, and he's like, man, I knew you were going to say something. Yeah. Like, right. And it's just like, cause I you know, just cause I'm like, you know, like I can't, if I'm going to be posting on social, I don't want it to be something that is just because we want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Or, you know, is Drew wrote here. Hi, Drew. You know, like for the photo op, like I don't want to do it just because it's for the photo op. And I know a lot of that, as you said, when you start printing money or you're just looking at the money, it's going to be that way. But I think right now, I would say the one thing that all these three teams do well is, yeah, when people do come and spend their money, like all these three teams after games are spending the time after games, players, you know, front office, connecting with the fans. You know, but I would agree. I think it's like, right, continue to build up those teams, whether it's a community relations arm, whether it's grassroots marketing, to get more people that are passionate about going out in the community and doing these events. You know, because sometimes front office wise, you can't use people that have to spend 95% of their time on something and then 5% going out to this event because they're going, okay, I just need to go out there and I need to come back because I need to focus on something else. So I think that's the only thing. And I guess we could wrap up episode 2.
I like that. I mean, this is exactly what we kind of wanted to talk about, is this kind of, you know, gloves off. Let's get into it. This is San Diego Futbol, San Diego Futbol Weekly, and it makes sense at the end of the day. Hey, if the only color that matters is what, Drew? Absolutely. That was your cue to stand up and show your shirt because your name is Kermit. That's the only color that matters at some
absolutely.
point. Thank you, everybody, for listening, joining. I'm pretty sure we'll get a couple of phone calls as our friend Kermit here leads us off to the end of the day.
Just call me. It's fine. It's all my fault.
That was perfect timing.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Thank you, Ryan, for coming in. And we'll see you for the next episode 3. So
let's go.
Glad you guys saw this one.